Welcome in. Today I want to talk about cold calling. What do we do? How can we get the most out of our marketing, right? How can we get the most out of cold calling? If that's going to be our marketing strategy, how do we maximize cold calling, and how do we actually get to a point where we're closing multiple deals because we're doing it, right? So I want to deep dive into that. But before we get started, make sure you smash that thumbs up and turn it blue, right? And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I definitely like to drop gems all the time. So make sure you're a part of it and don't miss any of it. So let's dive right into it. So cold calling, obviously you already understand what that is. That's just picking up the phone, calling particular sellers. Now, what is it going to take for you to actually get a deal in cold calling? I don't know why, but I know a lot of people can attest to this. Typically, newbies that just get started end up being good at on the phone and actually setting appointments for the sellers and actually moving forward and getting deals. Right, that's the biggest thing. When you get started with cold calling, it's literally a cheap form of marketing. Any investor, big time investor, can look at it and say, if you're doing cold calling, it's very, very cheap. And if you got cheap marketing going on, that means you have to have more conversations with that particular form of marketing. Give you an example. If I was paying $6,000, $7,000 a month on PPC, I probably don't have to call a lot of leads. I probably don't have to follow up with a lot of leads. I can just basically field leads, and I would probably close 1 to 2 deals a month just off of $5,000 off of PPC, right? Just $5,000 off of PPC, maybe 6 or 7, depending on the area you're in. Metropolitan area, more competitive. But with that particular type of lead, it's going to be more of an active lead. They're going to want to sell. Give you an example. If you Google food near me, you're probably going to be ready to eat, right? That's the example of a PPC lead. If they Google sell my house fast, they're ready to sell their house fast, meaning they're going to want to get an appointment within the next hour, maybe the next 24 hours, and go over there, show you the property and actually sell it, or maybe just lock it up over the phone. That's the type of lead you're dealing with. When you go over to cold calling, and I can put cold calling in text messaging, and I can take RVMs and anything that's very, very cheap, it's going to require a lot of hard work from you, right? It's going to require you to actually kill the cow to get to the steak. It's a part of it. It's just the nature of the beast with cold calling. So with that being said, first thing you want to look at, you want to get your list. I always advise anybody with cold calling to get the 3 Ds: divorce, distress, or delinquent. Always get those particular lists because those particular lists have pain on the other side of it. Now, when you start going big and not starting out, when you're going big and you're calling tons of people and you got VAs working for you, if you're going to do that, to be honest with you don't need all those lists. You just need somebody with a pulp on the end of the phone, on the other end of the phone, right? That you're talking to, and then you obviously got your script. You work them through the script, and you get better fine-tuned, and obviously you get more opportunities with that. So getting started, go on a divorce, distress, delinquent type of list like probates, pre-foreclosure, tax delinquent, tax sale, liens, divorce, driving for dollars list. Those are the type of lists you want to get after. Maybe a 90, 120, 30-day late, a 30, 60, 90, 120 late list. That's just credit hit type of list. But you want some kind of pain to be there when you get ready to call. Now, when you call during cold calling, it's going to depend on you. I tell you a story about me. When I first got started with cold calling, I was using a deal machine to skip trace because that was the only skip tracing mechanism I knew at the time. I think REI skip was out, but it really wasn't big at this point. And a lot of people, cold calling wasn't big. So there wasn't a lot of services you can go to and get skip tracing, bulk skip tracing for cheap. So I paid Deal Machine literally $1 for every skip trace we did. After 200-300 skip traces that day, I jumped on the phone. I had no dialer. I was pounding the phone number by number from about 3 to 9 at night. That first night, I ended up getting a very, very hot lead. We closed that deal for about $15,000. Probably about a month later, we closed it for about $15,000. So it works. I don't know if it was beginner luck for me, but I know the first conversation I had, it was more like an active lead. I felt like I was taking control of my real estate opportunities. I wasn't putting out a bandit sign and hoping somebody called me. It was more like, no, I have that number. I'm giving them a call, which in essence made me feel good about myself. and then that first call was positive. Maybe the 20th call was somewhat okay. So it just allowed me to get that momentum and keep going. And I kept making phone calls, and I really felt great about myself. I really felt like I was putting in the work to be successful in real estate. So that's what it's going to take for you when you pick up that phone. Hey, have you liked the video? I'm trying to drop some gems here. Have you liked the video? Come on now. Let's get back to the video. Hey, make sure you like it. Don't play with me. Keep winning. People always ask, how many calls do I make in a day? What's a good number? As many as you possibly can. I mean, that's like telling me how many, that's like telling you to go get a lottery ticket. And I can tell you, hey, go get as many as you want or go get one. Which one are you going to do? The better your odds at getting hitting the lotto. You're going to go get as many as you possibly can. Exact same thing with cold calling, man. You want to hit as much as you possibly can. Don't worry about a number. Get started. Time block. I will go time as opposed to how many people I called. I will literally sit there. If you're getting started, I will literally sit there and say, okay, from 5 to 7, I'm going to call, or from 5 to 8 in the evening, I'm going to call. Or if you want to do more hours, let's figure out a way to make 8 hours a day, or 4 hours a day, or 6 hours a day, whatever you're comfortable with. But absolutely hit it hard and hammer it, because what you're essentially looking for, you're looking for momentum, and momentum is not going to come by staying in your comfort zone. Momentum only comes when you get out there and you actually put the work in that requires in order to have the success that you're actually looking for. So as far as how many calls I make throughout the week, man, it doesn't matter. How many deals do I get throughout the week? How many leads do I get throughout the week? Those are some of the questions that you need to be asking yourself, because in this business, you can make a million calls, but if you're not getting the leads, which it ultimately turn into appointments, which ultimately turn into contracts, which ultimately turn into deals being closed, who cares how many people you call? Your market is going to dictate how many people you need to talk to, how many people you need to call. But ultimately, you got to put in the work to allow yourself to get momentum in this business. And it's not going to come from a number that I tell you, but it's going to come from the hard work that you put in, the working on your scripts, developing, getting better at talking to people, having a better conversation, laughing, being yourself, whatever the case may be, matching and mirroring, talking about emotional things, bringing out the pain, right? That's what it's going to come down to. So me telling you a number, it really don't help you, but you understanding the process and you understanding compounding interest, right? You understand compounding interest. What that basically means is that you understand every effort that you put out, it's compounded. It's compounded. It's compounded. Before you know it, you'll have your first deal. So I would say to that, just go out and put in the work, and I promise you, you will see some results from cold calling. It works only if you do. Only if you do. If you're just getting started, I would advise you to get with Mojo Dollar. It's a little bit more expensive, but I love the setup. It's easy. It's user friendly. You can hop on there, upload your list, and start calling within 20-30 minutes. I personally use ZenCall, which is more like a call center type of layout, but it's a VoIP, which is voice over IP number, which allows you to just call from the computer, which is easy, but we do it because we have VAs from the Philippines working on our behalf. So it makes it easy for them. All they need is a headset and internet connection, and boom, they're rocking and rolling, doing exactly what we need them to do, and talk to people, right? Real estate is a contact sport. You must contact people. You must talk to people. And ultimately, that's the biggest thing in the game. Understand you can change your times when you're calling as well. That's going to be a very big deal when you're doing it. Making sure you're calling at all times of the day. I've probably had up to 24 hours being called throughout a single day. That's because I hired a team and was paying VAs to come in and call for us. I will personally train them up. I will personally listen to their phone calls and make sure they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Making sure they're matching and mirroring, making sure I'm getting training videos to them, making sure they're listening to their recordings to see how we can do it a little bit better. Ultimately, I wouldn't advise you to go to that stage just yet until you're ready to be a team leader, because they're going to only be as good as you are. And if you suck as a leader, I promise you, your VAs will suck. Everything about your business will suck. I see a lot of people just one-man hustle. That's because that's what they're good at. They're not good leaders, but they can get out there and work their butt off and make some money, right? So with that being said, you got to be a great leader, and a lot of people aren't ready for that. So I wouldn't be in such a eager stance to get started scaling, but it is possible. If you're ready for that, it is possible. You can go out there and get some VAs coming in. They're going to bring you cold calls. They're going to bring you leads of people that want to sell. And I promise you, you can start making unlimited money with cold calling. But to answer the question, how many leads do I need to call? As many as you possibly can. to make sure you have a higher rating or a higher chance of actually getting that deal. And ultimately, we getting paid money. That's what you're really looking for. That's the question. How much work do I have to put in to actually get paid? And that's just going to depend. Some people are 11th hour workers, meaning they're going to get there right an hour before the shift is over and make just as much money. And then other people have to go through the whole shift to get all their money. It's just a part of it, from nature of the beast. But I promise you, if you show up, you're going to make some money. If you show up, if you get in the ring, you might get hit in the face a couple of times, but before you know it, you'll get you a knockout. So just keep showing up, and I promise you're going to win. Let's go. Keep winning, you guys.